Good evening, NFL fans, Atlanta Falcon fans. What is going on? Thank you so very much for tuning into another Wednesday episode with your boys reporting eligible live. Man, we have a go on tab with us, man. The great Steve Wyche, NFL Networks' very own Steve Wyche is in the building. Mr. Wyche, thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule and reporting eligible, man on Wednesday night, 8 p.m.
I'm in the
There
house.
it is, baby.
Here we
In
go.
the house. Let's do it, man. Mr. Weiss, how have you been, man?
Life is good, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. We'll talk about the Dirty Birds. We'll talk to their fans. I told you guys earlier off camera, my two sons are like just radical Falcons fans. So, I'm very good at consoling.
Brutally honest from the jump. You gotta love it, but you also get that exclusivity here on Reporting Eligible. And just a friendly reminder, man, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I'm your bro. I'm your boy Berto, joined by my guy Bro Talk, as mentioned, Reporting Eligible coming to you live. Steve, we're gonna jump right into the NFL circuit. The NFL mentioning earlier today that they're ending the Pro Bowl. Something that a lot of us NFL fans maybe we're bracing for, maybe wanted it for some time because it became too much of a popularity contest in some fans' eye or most fans' eye. But is this something more political with the Pro Bowl not meeting, TV ratings, or is it a push for player safety amongst many things? Right, it's uber rare for NFL guys to get hurt during participating. But you got to go back to 23 when then Cleveland defensive end Myles Garrett did dislocate his toe. What do you know about the ending of this Pro Bowl going around the NFL?
It's probably been in the works for a little while. I mean, look, they actually stopped playing the game itself a couple years ago. Remember they started playing flag football games, doing competitions and things like that. But they realized a couple years ago the game wasn't competitive. Guys were not going to risk injuring themselves and injuring other people by being physical. Like when I grew up, man, those guys got after it, right? They
Oh
actually played in
man,
that game. There was money at stake where they might not have had to work in the offseason if they got their Pro Bowl checks and things like that. But once it became non-competitive and became kind of a touch football league, the NFL said, okay, let's try to make it a flag football game or something kind of cool. Now they're like, just let's forget it. Let's do something to where being honored as a Pro Bowler still carries the prestige, but let's not pretend anymore. Let's not put guys' health at stake. Let's not even spend the money to stage something like this. That it did get TV ratings. I mean, it did get media follow. It did get TV ratings, but it just wasn't like a competitive type of thing anymore. So I respect the NFL for acknowledging what it is. And saying, again, let's get the prestige of people being selected a Pro Bowler. And as you mentioned, Berto, a lot of times
Mhm.
when guys who get voted even participate, even in the flag football games, they wouldn't go. Like some of the
Yeah.
people who are participating, are like, okay, you're the fourth alternate, right? So just go ahead and let it be a prestigious event, the honor of being a Pro Bowler, and that is what it is.
So it sounds like fans will still get to vote for who they want as the Pro Bowler. It's just now instead of having this big event, it'll just be like, hey, here are your Pro Bowlers, and that's it. Is that what I'm
Yeah,
understanding?
exactly. And the fans have some say. The majority of the vote goes to the players and the coaches who, that's why they're like, okay, my peers. The fans have some say in it, but there are also other people who vote. But yes, it's basically going to be like, okay, Jalen Ramsey, you were voted, a Pro Bowler this year. You don't have to worry about a game or whatever. So now you've got that badge of honor of being a legit Pro Bowl selection, not a participant. Where there's different. Like I said, a lot of times the second, third, and fourth alternates were participating, and the guys who are now selected, though, okay, you're selected a Pro Bowler. That carries the weight that it should.
Are guys still getting incentives for getting that accolade on their
There,
name?
there are some contracts that do still have it. Like if you're selected to be a Pro Bowler, that's great. But if you participate, that does not count towards a contractual bonus for being a Pro Bowler. That's how a lot of guys were saying, "Hey, look, I was a Pro Bowler." Like, well, dude, you're like the number 3 punt returner. That came up because the other guys couldn't play because they're playing the Super Bowl or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah. But once if guys were actually selected, those could still trigger certain incentives. But those bonuses really diminished over previous years because of what we were just talking about.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Makes sense. We're gonna turn dial, man. This is an Atlanta Falcon podcast, and we definitely have some questions regarding our beloved Atlanta Falcons. As you mentioned to start the show, you do a great job consoling your
Yep.
two sons. This fan base has been needing some consoling for the better
Ooh.
part of 8 years. It's been a tumultuous ride for us Falcon fans. You know, seeing the end of Matty Ice to Julio Jones, you name it, all these big names in Atlanta. We have seen a transition now where we're bringing up our own big names now, guys like Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, etc. But we have to touch on the front office for a moment here because Arthur Blank, did what he felt he needed to do best, was get rid of Terry Fontenot, then GM, also Raheem Morris, just after a few years. They hired Ian Cunningham and Kevin Stefanski. So this is Arthur Blank's notion of ending mediocrity for the Atlanta Falcons. What is the sense that you get from this Falcons front office, or in conversations, if you had any, with Arthur Blank on the vision for this 2026-2027?
Well, Arthur has been trying since I was covering the Falcons back from 2005 to 2008. He has been trying. You know, they had some of the success with Mike Smith and with Dan Quinn, right? And Dan Quinn got him to a Super Bowl. But ever since then, ever since the 28-3, I rang that bell. It has been the curse that people said it would be. It has been a self-fulfilling prophecy. And when you think about it, the roster that Terry Fontenot put together was pretty darn good. I mean, the backbone of this team came from his hand. You know, the Bijan Robinson, Drake London, the guys like that. Their mistakes were when Arthur Smith was the head coach, they couldn't get the quarterback situation right. Again, they talked about last year, Matt Ryan, Desmond Ridder, rolling guys like that. So then they go out and they draft Michael Penix after paying Kirk Cousins, and that was a bad move just because the money that they paid Kirk Cousins made it an uncomfortable situation. When they went with Penix, the injuries showed up. So with this plan with Kevin Stefanski, you're bringing in a two-time coach of the year, right, who actually won ball games to a degree in Cleveland, where I talk about consoling Falcons fans. Boy, those folks up there, they've gone through it. And
they definitely have.
But Kevin coaches a nice West Coast offensive scheme. Let's see, how it operates. But then he's got a really good staff, but the structure of the organization is different now, right? Before there was always a GM. Right now it's Ian Cunningham. Matt Ryan is above Ian Cunningham. And to take the model that was successful that we saw last year is Tony Boselli down in Jacksonville, right? He came in over James Gladstone. And what he basically served as was the perfect liaison between ownership, front office, and coaching. Hey, coaches, you coach. General managers, you scout, you build your boards, you do all this. Anything that the owner needs to know about, he'll come to me and we'll work that out. You guys don't have to spend your Sundays after the game building out a report to show it to the owner on Monday. I'll do that. So by having Matt Ryan in the building now is that buffer to handle a lot of the things that used to be on the GM's plate and used to be on the head coach's plate. Now Matt Ryan is there. Plus, Matt knows how that building operates. He knows how Arthur Blank operates. He'll have the tough conversations with Arthur, instead of the people who might have been intimidated by, Arthur doing certain things a certain way. He's a great owner, but he wants things done a certain way. Matt Ryan would be like, hey, not now. Not now. Yeah. I'm the greatest quarterback in the organization, arguably the greatest player in the organization's history. So let's back off. Let's take the lid off of that until tomorrow, and then we'll address it. Right. So having that's a nice little structural piece that should help alleviate just some of the demands of the coaches and the GMs in the building when it comes to answering to ownership and some of the questions of leadership.
So you're saying the football guys can focus on football instead of having in their back of their mind, oh no, I've got to report to Arthur Blank because of X, Y, and Z.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. And also, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the team also brought in Mud Duck to kind of serve as another buffer to the players as player personnel. He was hired in some role of that nature. So
Matt Ryan brought in the center. He brought in Todd McClure. McClure hit me up and said, Steve, I'm going to be joining the Falcons next week. It's going to be announced next week. And one of the things that they really like what he can do is now he's the guy who can get with the players, an undrafted guy who ended up making all these Pro Bowls, right? One of the best linemen in Falcons history, a dude everybody adores, like a tough guy, but he's got a way of speaking to players. So now he is a liaison to the locker room for Matt Ryan. Like a lot of times when you have non-football players or certain guys who've been in the building for a long time, they're viewed as snitches, right? Guys in the locker room like, oh, man, don't talk around him. He's going to go dime us out to the front office or ownership. Mud Duck's not that guy. He's a former player who's got a great relationship with Matt Ryan. They will know what needs to stay in-house between them, between the players, to have a bond of trust so stuff doesn't necessarily leak to the front office or leak to ownership. So these guys, again, can have the perfect type of bond to win ball games. And having that trust is everything when it comes to organizational structure.
So in that sense, something we've noticed on social media is our own beat reporters not really putting a lot of information out during practice. Normally there'll be tweets of this just happened or this completion just happened, interception, fumble, whatever the case may be. Could that be something that Matt Ryan and Mud Duck are doing just to keep all the negative noise out of the building?
I don't think they care about that. If the players are too weak to be bothered by what people are putting up on Twitter, then they got a long road ahead of them. But when you say the beat reporters not putting information out, are you talking about the AtlantaFalcons.com people? Because a lot of team reporters, they just don't put business out there. Like they won't announce a trade until the ink is dry after it's already been reported for 2 days, right? Because they just got it.
It's more so about what's going on at practice. It's kind of died down. So like Daniel Flick of the AJC, he really doesn't put much out there up until practice is over. Hey, here's something the AJC is doing with the completion percentage. And Joe Patrick on, from 92.9, they would normally be tweeting out, hey, this is what I see. They're not putting videos, obviously, because the team doesn't want that.
So here's how it typically is structured. In training camp, right, when practices are open to everybody, when the general public can sit there and hold a phone and record, that's when they tend to allow reporters, hey, look, here's certain things you can report. Like you can't report on formations, right? You can't report on, hey, look, the Falcons lined up 3-by-1 empty. They did a motion fake reverse. Like you don't want to ever do stuff where you're reporting formations or things like that. That's why when they let people film, you'll film the individual stuff, but not team stuff where, again, you can see personnel packages and things like that. Once training camp ends, those reporters do not have access to watch practice anymore. They've got the first 10 to 15 minutes of practice, which is usually stretch, pat and go for the receivers and the quarterbacks, maybe some bag drills, things like that. Then they do not have eyes. Like right now, they do not have eyes. Once camp is over, they do not have eyes on players other than those 15 to 20 minutes. So that's how come you see a lot of the wording is this is the first time we've seen this player in a week during media availability, right? That player might have been out there, but he might have come out after the media left the viewing portion of practice. So that's those are some of the journalistic dynamics and the reporting dynamics as to why maybe you're not seeing so much of the play-by-play that you saw a couple weeks ago when training camp was open.
Understood. So the Falcons have done an incredible job this offseason just doling out cash, man. They literally they were like the Scrooge McDuck this offseason, just sitting on this money and just handing it right out. Even though Scrooge McDuck didn't do any of that, he hoarded it for himself. But obviously, Ian Cunningham being very frugal with the extensions, right? It started with Kyle Pitts and trickled into Drake London, Bijan Robinson, etc. The Falcons spent north of 360 plus million.
Matt Bergeron,
Matthew Bergeron.
Yep.
Yeah. Great contract there for the Falcons and for Bergeron, of course. But with these contracts handed out, right? How much the pressure that could be amounting on this young core already to deliver with the most important position not being settled just yet, we'll touch on just a little bit. What are you getting in as far as from Flowery Branch, the sense of these core guys buying into what Stefanski and Tommy Rees are implementing so far?
Well, first off, let's talk about the contracts and who they went to, what positions they went to.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the structure, it looks like they give out a lot of cash, but they haven't. Like Bijan Robinson's contract, a lot of that new money doesn't kick in for a couple years. So that gives them cap flexibility. Same thing with some of these other players, right? They may get a little cash up front for the signing bonus. Well, little cash to them, a lot of cash to us for a signing bonus, but like the real contractual dollars might not kick in until 27 or 28. So they structure these things in a way. Also, what position does Bijan Robinson play?
Running back.
What position does Kyle Pitts play?
Tight end.
What position does Matthew Bergeron play?
Guard.
Those are non-priority salaried positions. Even though they are maybe some of the highest paid players at their positions, they're not left tackles, they're not pass rushers, they're not corners, they're not quarterbacks. So even though they've got great salaries for their positions, they're not bank busting contracts because you're not paying an edge guy, a left tackle, a corner. Now Drake London, we know that those wide receiver deals are up in the $40 million a year APY, right? So he got paid, right? But they're not, again, for all the money it seems like Pitts and Bijan and Bergeron got paid, they're not making the $33 million a year that, Trent McDuffie signed to get a cornerback, that Devin Weatherspoon signed a cornerback. So keep that in mind. These are big contracts for certain positions, but they're not what NFL people consider the premium high priority salary positions.
So
in terms of those guys buying in, hey man, the team committed to them, so they're going to commit to the team. Like, hey, you showed love to us.
Yeah,
you showed love to us, and the character of these guys, of a Drake London, of a Bijan Rob, they're the hardest working guys on the team, right? They're not all of a sudden going to be like, hey, I made it, I got to that second contract. These dudes are going to lean in.
Yeah,
and so that's really important. They do have a lot of high character guys on this roster, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
So what you're saying is, when you say not bank busting, non-premium positions, there was a lot of, kind of not outrage, but kind of outcry. Like, what are we doing paying a running back? What are we doing paying a tight end? What are we doing paying a guard? So in their lens, it's a big deal. But you're saying in the NFL world, it's like, oh, like, yeah, those are positions that aren't going to hurt you long-term salary cap-wise. Is that what I'm understanding?
It's not going to gut you. If you're not paying a quarterback $60 million a year and a cornerback or $33 million a year, and a wide receiver $40 million a year, right? You look at those numbers I just gave you. I just gave you $130 million APY for 3 guys. Those guys aren't making anywhere near that. Right? You got 4 guys who might be making annually 70, right? 75, 80. So yeah, people go, oh, we pay what? Just, I'm giving you guys a game here, right? When it comes to, like, that's when people drafted Kyle Pitts, people were critical, saying, why are you going to draft a non-premium position top 10? Well, because he's valuable to them at that. But I mean, you hear about some of these things, like, let's keep it in perspective. Those 4 guys are not going to eat up 70% of your salary cap like a Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens are, right? You're paying 2. You got 1 receiver on the franchise tag, and numbers big, another receiver on a high level, and then Dak making $60 million a year. Those are 3 guys that are eating up a chunk of your cap. So again, those are premium positions. So again, people have to really start to understand how NFL general managers and people view this when they're talking about salary, dispensation.
That's interesting, because now it makes more sense why Micah Parsons was the odd man out when all those contract extensions.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't make absolutely no sense.
It makes sense to Jerry Jones.
No.
Oh man, Jerry.
So you're saying? So hold on. So you're saying if Steve Wyche was the GM or the owner of the Cowboys, you would have paid all 3?
Yeah.
See, hey, I would
have. As well as they've drafted players. Yeah, I would have.
Okay.
I'm not letting Micah Parsons walk out that door.
That's true.
How's that work? How'd that work out for him last year with that great defense they had? I'm being very sarcastic.
Oh, definitely noted. Not so well, for sure.
JD Clowney was their leading pass rusher.
Yikes.
So, and he was good, but he wasn't Michael Parsons.
You're right. Go for it, bro.
1000%. Yeah. Being down recently in Atlanta at the beginning of the month, did you get an opportunity to speak to young Tommy Reese and some of the offensive personnel guys that Stefanski brought over? Tommy Reese, as we all know, doesn't have a lot of NFL experience coaching at these ranks or calling plays. So my concern is, or if I don't know if you got the same concern, you're inheriting a bunch of playmakers. Can Tommy Reese and Kevin Stefanski get this team going in the right direction from day one? And that's going to be a challenge as we speak.
Well, I mean, Tommy Reese called plays last year in Cleveland, and of course, that was just a mashup of quarterbacks, of healthy and non-healthy players. When they got things going, I mean, you saw some stuff to Jerry Jeudy. They were really good with the tight end. I mean, Fannin and Njoku, so that should be exciting for the tight end crew because they got some depth here in Atlanta at tight end, with Pitts and some other guys behind him. So,
yeah,
that's something you've got to look at. The run game was really good, at Cleveland, and they didn't have they didn't have Bijan Robinson. So again, you have to see how it flows. Can they play with leads, right? They weren't calling too many games with leads up in Cleveland. So,
yeah.
How are you going to call games with a lead? How are you going to call games situationally? If you get a lead, how are you going to play from behind? Are you going to be systematic with what you do? Are you going to take more shot plays? So we have to get a feel for what this offense is. Again, it's a West Coast based offense. We're going to see a lot of the stuff we saw with Arthur Smith, that type of stuff. A little probably more creative in the red zone. I would hope. I know that was.
Pray to God. Oh my God.
but it's look. I've got a lot of respect for Kevin Stefanski. I think he's a really good coach. But we'll see. This is everything with the Falcons is we'll see. And that's not the most comfortable place to be entering the season 0-0. So we'll see. But you can't sit there and say right now, like, hey, we got this, and this. We know we can rock. We know we can take these first 3 games, even if a couple of them on the road or things like Denver's walking onto the field feeling that way, right? The Rams are walking onto the field feeling that way. The Falcons are like, well, let's see who our quarterback is, and let's see if we've got a nickel and dime these guys, if we can take shot plays, or if we're going to lean on Bijan this game. They've got to kind of figure out who they are. But that's what happens when you have a new coaching staff come in.
I had a question and I lost it. Dang it! I was listening intently and I forgot.
He's still trying to figure out that guard, tight end, running back salary rotation.
That's what he's doing. He's dwelling on that. He's like, God damn it! He just schooled me. He put me on game. Oh man, we certainly do appreciate that. Well, until you get that question back, let's shift now. Just to the defense. Obviously, this is a defense that, by some metrics, overachieved last year. 57 sacks. You had to go back all the way to 2004 to get even close to that. The years of Kearney, Grady Jackson, you name it.
Abraham.
Oh, by the way, John Abraham.
Yeah.
I mean, and oh, by the way, Grady Jackson. What was it today? Marked 20 years ago since we last signed him.
There's a new Twitter page that does 20 years ago sports, and 20 years ago, Grady Jackson signed with the Falcons. That's crazy.
I was there when he came over the Packers. Big Grady.
Yeah, big man. Big Grady, man. Yes, definitely. And what much needed. Would have been much needed, for a Falcons run defense that, struggled a bit last year. But that was last year. Now, focusing on this year, obviously the Falcons came in with high hopes. Obviously, the tumultuous offseason that was for James Pierce Jr. and unfortunately losing Walker for the year with the torn knee. When you were down in Atlanta, what sense did you get? Was there panic the moment that obviously there was panic, right? When you lose a young phenom like Jalen Walker, who we had high expectations going into year 2, was there a growing sense where Atlanta was in they were maybe a phone call away from making a deal of some sort to acquire another talented pass rusher? Or is the pass rush by committee something they're going to just rely on? The Falcons and Jeff Ulbrich.
Well, I mean, that's what they have to do because great pass rushers rarely become available. I mean, the Myles Garrett thing is a once in a lifetime type of thing, and that was Cleveland doing him a solid, and the Rams saying, "Hey, we'll give you what we gave you to get him." Yeah, I was there the day when Jalen Walker got hurt, and it was sick, non-contact. It was awful.
Man,
to see him have to go down, and then now we've got Pierce, with that facing that suspension where he's going to be gone for more than half the season. So now you've got, I'm sitting here looking, you got Zadarius Smith. We'll see he come in. He's now more of a run edge setting type. But look, you can generate pressure with those types of guys. If you keep teams out of third and short or second, and if you keep them in second and 8, you're going to be in known passing situations. Then you can do blitzes and things like that. But if you're in second and 4, okay, now you're facing, am I in base nickel? I'm in base, 4-3. Am I in base, or if I, like, you're stuck, like you can really. So we'll see how some of that, the pass rush. I mean, this is an issue. Like Samson Ebekom's a good player, right?
Yeah.
They've got some guys. Azeez Ojulari is a good player. So it's going to have to be by committee. But when you do that, you got to be stout in the middle, right? You got to be able, again, to control things guard to guard on offense. You got to get in the face of some of these shorter quarterbacks that you have in the division, crushing the pocket, right? And so on the back end, they got dudes now. I mean, Xavier Watts, Jesse Bates, AJ Terrell. If you see Billy Bowman can come back, I know that's a player they were really, really high on. Sidney Brown, someone they can have. So, look, again, this is under construction. And this is when you have a really solid team, like you don't have a coaching change when you've got really solid pieces in place. So losing 2 young edge rushers is a real kick in the stomach. When you are trying to put together a defense. So Jeff Ulbrich, he's got work to do, but these guys buy in, man. Brick's a good coach. If these guys buy in and get it going, I mean, that's something that can keep them in a lot of games. Just don't get hung out there and be like the Bengals defense last year where your offense is scoring 40, but you're giving up 41.
Yeah.
So that's, if they can be consistent and Divine Diablo and those guys and keep on building, that's really going to help this offense while it finds its way.
I remember my question now. You mentioned like we're in the state of we'll see, right? Because obviously the biggest thing is like quarterback uncertainty, offensive scheme, and things like that. I mean, is there a sense of pressure that a Raheem Morris was facing in year 1, then year 2, or is Kevin Stefanski, because it's a new front office, new structure? What's the sense that you're getting that? Okay, if this season isn't a playoff season, but it results in a top 5, top 10 pick, now we can actually get our guy, and then we can go from there? Or like, what's the sense you're getting?
I mean, that's the thinking, but it's not the sense with the team. I mean, nobody out there saying, "Hey, we're tanking for Tua," so to speak. We already got him. You set it up for me, man. It was on the team. Yeah. But look, they want to win ball games. They just have to see how they're going to do it. Like, you're in a division where 9 wins might get you into the playoffs, right? Again, you get early wins, you get confidence. You're like, we can do this a certain way. You got to be creative when you start playing in division, facing teams the second time around. But as long as they can stay healthy, there is enough of a young core here, of a core here for them to be competitive, right? That you just don't know right now. And I think every team in the NFC South can say that. Like, we really, like, Carolina got some gangsters on defense, right? By adding Devin Lloyd and Jalen Phillips. Like, their defense should be better, but they lost their starting offensive tackles, right? How are you going to fix that? That's an issue. That's a big issue. Tampa Bay, they've got the culture. But, man, did they fade last year? Like, can they get their mojo back? But so I don't think Kevin Stefanski is under any pressure to say, hey, if you guys go, 3-14, you're out. But, plus Arthur Blank's not big on getting rid of coaches after a year. But if you've got, as Sean Payton said, the preseason game, a whole bunch of folks dressed up as empty seats over and over and over.
Oh, my God.
Trust me, that's something that does get Arthur Blank's attention. But they've got players people want to see. They've got Drake London. They've got Bijan Robinson. They've got guys people want to see. They've just got to put it together. But it can't be a disaster. It can't be a nightmare. But it's got to be competitive, and I think they will be.
Okay. I think I like hearing that we can be competitive. It's just a matter of executing, kind of like how national media overreacted to their week 1 preseason game against a Super Bowl caliber team. Then everybody
always overreacts in preseason. Preseason's the biggest liar in the NFL.
You heard it from Steve Wyche,
You
people.
heard it from Steve Wyche,
Well, I
exactly.
mean, probably because at some point you're going to be asking me, why isn't Jack Strand being considered for the starter?
No,
Ah,
Preseason is the biggest lie in the
I was
NFL.
gonna say, please, preseason could be a liar, but not Jack Strand, and you nailed it, man.
yeah,
You
this
got to
this
it
fan
before we can
base
ask.
is clamoring for Jack
He
Strand,
played well.
and he
Yeah,
did play well. I
Yeah.
thought
yeah.
personally he stood tall in the pocket, right? Obviously, he's got that prototypical 6'4" frame,
Mhm.
what
Mhm.
240, athletic, got the strong arm and things like that. But I mean, you tell me, right? You've got the connections and whatnot. Like, is there like really and truly there? I'm sure there's a chance for him to make the roster, which a lot of fans
Mhm.
want
Yeah,
at
he's
least.
got to. He's got to.
That I think we're all in agreement there. But like, can you kind of put out that little flame that's sparking? Like Jack Strand's not going to be the starter.
No, he's not. I
Thank
mean,
you.
but they've got to have depth because they have two viable options to start with significant injury histories,
Yeah.
Mm.
right? You got to have some people in the system who know how to operate the system. And you can't stash, like if you put Cooper Rush in a practice squad, someone's going to snatch him when they've got an injury. And the
Mhm.
same thing may happen to Strand because he performs so well. You try to stash him on the practice squad, somebody might be like, we're going to go get him, put him on our active roster, and he's going to be our number 3 because we like his skill set. There's teams out there who've got film on him who liked him probably coming out of college, signed him as a UDFA, and we'll see. But when you've got quarterbacks with that injury history, man, you better have one on the deck and one on the deck of the deck.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Speaking of the quarterback position, we'll transition into that because I know that's a very popular topic amongst all Atlanta Falcon fans, content creators, national media, you name it.
As it should
Obviously,
be.
too, as it should be, right? And I think there's a growing frustration or growing sense of frustration that Tua, a guy that has won games at the national football level, has not been able to just take this job and run with it, right? Is that frustrating? Yeah, it has to be frustrating for the Atlanta Falcons, right? Because obviously they felt like they could sign a guy, a bridge guy, if you want to call him that, until Michael Penix gets healthy. But Penix not being available most of the offseason and Tua being available, Tua just hasn't been able to, just firmly put both feet down and say, this is my job to lose. And now with Penix being cleared, there's an outside chance that Penix could be the week 1 starter. Was this what the Falcons envisioned all along, that, Tua would just be that, just hold the position only in the preseason for Penix to come in and take it from him? What's the frustration
I'm
level
sure.
with
I'm sure that
Atlanta?
wasn't. I'm sure that wasn't the vision. I'm sure they were like, "Look, Michael Penix, if he's healthy, we want this to be a legit competition." But Michael Penix had just started 11 on 11 drills this week, and he's not playing in the 3rd preseason game. He's been ruled out.
Mm-hmm.
This should be. I mean, this is a straight up one-man slam dunk competition. But right now, it seems like Tua hasn't gotten above the rim, and
Right.
And I think that is somewhat frustrating, like, sees it. Kyler Murray went there and took it,
Mm-hmm.
right? When there was a quarterback competition, Kyler Murray, in the same situation as Tua, another team is paying the brunt of his contract. He went in there with a former first-round draft pick that is familiar with the coaching staff even. Like, Penix, at least, is not familiar with Kevin Stefanski's coach, and Kyler Murray took it. There was no doubt in anyone's mind, like, he's the guy we're rolling with. Now, I don't know if Kevin Stefanski is maybe playing, okay, I'm just going to be as fair as possible to Michael Penix as I can, at least give him an opportunity. Hey, man, the season's right around the corner. Like, if Tua is the guy, or if he's the guy by default, you got to let him go. But, and I'm big on this, and I've covered the league long enough to know this, how all of those other guys on the team react to the quarterback is hugely important. Is this the guy they believe in? Is he the guy who can be like, all right, gentlemen, let's go out and take this practice field today. Let's go out and do this. We're going to be doing, inside 20 red zone stuff today, blah, blah, blah. Let's knock it out. All right, let's go, right? Is he going to be that guy, right? Lamar Jackson does it. Those dudes rock with him, right? Joe Burrow's out there doing it. Is that happening in practice? We don't know. But the fact that this has not been rubber stamped by now, when there's really, I want to say it was a competition, but Michael Penix has not been able to do 11 on 11 until this week, and he's not
Mm-hmm.
playing in a preseason game. So to me, it's not even really a competition. So either Tua has not seized this, or Kevin Stefanski is just trying to be as open-minded as possible, I guess, which he didn't do in Cleveland. Joe Flacco was the starter, and Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel were guys who had earned the number 2 spot. So I don't know.
You're saying he learned from his previous mistakes.
Maybe. I mean, maybe not. Maybe he just hasn't seen enough.
So,
and if you haven't seen enough at this point, then that's a little discouraging. And I think Tua is a better player than that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we were expecting, right? We were all kind of like rolled our eyes when he signed, but then it's like you kind of start thinking logically, okay, this guy led the league in passing. He's a Pro Bowler. Like, he can get it done in a system that's a timing system.
Perfect
and
system for him.
Has a good, that's what everyone started thinking. Like, okay, this is okay. He's not our long-term solution, but he's at least a solution that could win us some games. And one thing that you said is how the guys rally. And we've asked, we had Daniel Flick on here. We've asked Joe Patrick. Mm-hmm. It seems like the consensus, or at least the feel, right? We don't know because we're not in the building, is that the guys have more of that, let's get after it when Michael is in the huddle, when he is the one calling the shots, let's get this happen, versus Tua, which, I mean, you could say it makes sense. Tua just got there and Michael's been there for at least 3 years. I mean, could Kevin Stefanski be, like you said, seeing that, like, man, these guys really respond to Michael when he controls it? Because something that you said is something they said about Matt Ryan. Even when he entered as a rookie, he commanded the room.
He commanded.
I am the general.
I was there for every day.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling on now, but like, if Michael Penix is truly garnering that respect from his teams over to it, could you see Kevin Stefanski, if the play is about the same, go with Michael Penix?
That could be the swing vote. That could be the finger on the scale. That does that. And those guys are more familiar with Penix. He started games for them, right? They know. What you think Drake London's like part of the Michael Penix fan club? He was he was filling up Drake's basket, and so these are things that they've got to work through. But players know, and if Tua is doing enough, then like, okay, let's go. But if he's only doing enough for them to say, okay, let's get to week 2 and get Penix in there, then they got to hold it down. It is what it is. But the fact that there still has not been actual clarification, the fact that Tua's got to start in the 3rd preseason game,
that's crazy.
Like, one,
you should have had it locked up by now.
Like, well, one, there goes your Jack Strand theory, because why isn't he starting the 3rd preseason game?
Oh, man.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like, no one started playing their starters the 3rd preseason game for the most part, right? And so, to me, that's saying we still have to work through a couple things for Tua to be out there. Maybe it's the operation, him, Tommy Rees getting the play call into him, and we've got to work through some of that stuff still. So maybe that's part of it. None of us really know because we're not in the rooms. We don't know the discussion, but these are all things that are factored into play.
For one, I feel like Strand will stick around. I mean, the coaching staff seems to get around him. Alex Van Pelt, I think he has a nickname for him. Was it Tree Trunk or something like that? I might have it wrong, but it seems like, players are gravitating to Jack Strand as well. I mean, this is going to sound crazy, but he's running with the twos. Tua's going to start. Is there an outside possibility you think that Strand could even leapfrog Tua in the quarterback depth? Bro Talk, you shake your head. I get it. I understand. It's a crazy question, but nothing should be crazy when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons and what they got going on at the quarterback position. What do you feel, Steve?
Not right now.
Could be
Not right now. Not right now.
Yeah.
There's no. I that would be absolutely stunning. If they were to make that call with 2 first-round quarterbacks on the roster to say we're going to leapfrog one of. Now they may say, look, we just haven't seen it from Tua. We're just going to let him go, right? I don't think that's going to happen. But that would be such a reach. Again, with the injury history with both of these guys, they've got to keep as many experienced players on the field or on that roster in that quarterback room as possible.
So I guess you've seen a lot of front offices. You've been covering the NFL for quite some time. Like, the ceiling for Cooper Rush, right? We saw it in Dallas. He had some highs, but he's also had some lows. Spent a year in Baltimore. They cut him. It wasn't working out as a backup. I mean, does that outweigh the potential of a guy that's performing well, even though you say preseason is the biggest liar, like he's doing everything that you want from a quarterback? Does that outweigh the possibility of, like, if we let this guy hit the practice squad, someone's just going to scoop him right up? Does that at least get him into the quarterback 3 spot where it's like, we don't want other teams the possibility to take a young guy like this?
That's a great question. That is a great question because, look, Cooper Rush. Like if you got to put him in there in a game in the third quarter and he's got to finish it, okay, he might be able to get you a win, right? He's shown that before.
Mm-hmm.
But tell me this: have you ever met an offensive football coach who doesn't think he can develop somebody?
Don't they say like they have an ego like this?
Right? Have you ever met a coach who doesn't think he can take a Jack Strand and make him better?
Right.
It's the ultimate challenge. Tease and challenge with coaches. Yeah. I mean, I've done this with I used to cover the NBA backup point guards. Hey, I can make Eric Murdoch a starter. Right? Guys like this, right? So and some guys can. We've seen look, it's going down to Miami. Malik Willis, right?
Yeah.
If we're talking Falcons, I covered the Falcons and Mike Vick was a starter and Matt Schaub was the backup. Ooh. And Schaub showed enough in preseason for Houston when Schaub was available to go ahead and make a move for him. And Schaub was one of the first guys to continually throw for 4,000 yards a season. Yes, so there's always somebody out there who thinks they can develop somebody. So maybe Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees and Alex Van Pelt are like, I like this guy Strand. We know what Cooper Rush can do. If we let him go, he's still probably going to be out there on the market by week 6. Mm-hmm. Right, we can always bring him back. We can always tell him to stay ready. So, again, Strand is somebody, if they feel that they can develop. Now, once you get into the regular season, you don't get much time. Those backup quarterbacks get no time, but until they put in the extra work after practice with the position coaches, with the assistant quarterback coach, with the assistant receivers coach. But if he's that guy, right, if he's got that, I want to be great to me, he'll put in that time, and they'll work with him and see if they can get him ready.
So it's more like mental reps. So like if he's ever called to it, I'm not saying this is a possibility, but you always think what if, right? Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, called to duty, and he performed, right?
Yes, out of the gate.
Out of the gate. Dak Prescott, 4th-round quarterback. Everyone thought Tony Romo goes down. He steps up. He takes them, 13-3 that year to the playoffs, right? One play away from the NFC Championship game and things like that. So
it rarely happens. I mean, it rarely happens. I mean, look what happened with Denver last year when they had to go with Simeon. He only had a week of getting reps in that offense, and it just didn't work against really good Patriots defense. But look again, coaches they always want to have that moldable clay,
right?
And if they think Strand's that guy, they'll try to mold him.
And
they have the coaching staff to do it.
Right. Yeah. Do you have any insight? Like he mentioned, like he wanted to stay loyal to the university that gave him an opportunity. Was there actually bigger programs reaching out to him to try and get him to transfer? Like, was that a real thing?
I don't know.
Okay.
That part I don't know anything about his potential transfer portal possibilities.
Gotcha.
Well, we're getting deep into the Jack Strand weeds right now.
I'm telling you, man.
You set us up.
We believe in Jack Strand. There was a lot to like. Just watching film and how he operated. Sure, it was a small school, but the tangibles were there. The arm strength, the size, the prototypical size. There was a lot to like. There was a lot to like about Jack Strand coming out, and just the coaching staff that Stefanski put around him. I remember when Raheem last year or so, a few years ago said, "I like to surround myself with people that are smarter than me." So I guess it made his job a little bit easier at the coaching aspect of it. I feel like Stefanski has done that, but he's on par with everybody that he has on tap with him on that offensive crew. And from a development portion of it, I think he nailed it bringing in Alex Van Pelt. This is a quarterback coach that's been around for a while, has seen he's seen a bunch of them. Drake May. Look what he did with Drake May as a rookie, right? And then he was flinging the ball all around. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities that Jack Strand could turn into something more than serviceable, potentially future QB1. But hey, listen, that's for later on. That's for later on. Not now.
You don't really want to go there right now, man. We really want to go there right now.
You don't, because it hurts a lot of the feelings of the true Penix, truthers and stuff like that. And there's no slight, no disrespect to them. But God damn it, we are at a point where anything that can get us a win, whatever quarterback to get us a game, let's go, man. But We only have a few more minutes here with Mr. West, which, again, we certainly thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on here with us on Reporting Eligible. Falcons play their final preseason game this Friday night. What would you have your eye on out for, and what are your expectations in this last preseason game
Well,
for the
I mean,
Falcons?
look, this is where 3 or 4 guys are going to make the roster. You want to see, since Tua is playing, you want to see the operation again, the play call in, getting guys out of the huddle, getting them up to the line of scrimmage where you can go ahead and make your checks and things like that, even if they're backup players. One thing a lot of really good coaches like to do is see their quarterbacks elevate, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you can elevate the guys on the second team or the guys who are trying to make a roster, even in a small sample size, 8 plays, whatever, or you get 2 first downs, you elevate them. You make somebody trying to make a roster look good, right? All right. That's something we need to see. We like to see that. If you're kind of going out there and it's just like, okay, let's run these plays. If we get a first down, we get it. It's not really going to mean much week 1. And look, I know too, I know his fiber, right? He's going to go out there and really try to make everybody look good and play well. And, hopefully they don't put him in harm's way. Mm-hmm. But that's the things you want to see in week 3, because guys know come Friday and Saturday, hey, bring your iPad up to the coach's office. You need to speak with you. Like, that's coming. And so, again, you want these guys to be with you for months. You want to see them do well, and if it's their last hurrah, you want to see them go out with a bang. And those are the things you want to see happen.
Very good, bro.
I have a question, and Mr. Wyche, take off your NFL Network hat for a second. This team has been one thing these past couple years since our last winning season. It's consistently 7-8 wins with subpar quarterback play, right? We have 2 guys that have shown, maybe Michael Penix Jr. not as much as Tua, that they can win or at least distribute the ball to help win. I mean, is it out of the realm of possibilities to say, like you said, we're in a weaker division, like this team can get those 10 wins and get the belief and fill those empty seats, as Sean Payton said, in the Benz? Like, are we talking crazy? Because here on Reporting Eligible, we're viewed as the more optimistic guys to kind of shine the light on the dark that have been the Falcons for quite some time. Like, am I talking crazy to say, hey, this team can win 10 games?
You never know. I mean, it's just like, who saw New England doing what it did, right, last year? You never know when you get a coach that brings in stability in a culture. That's exactly what Mike Vrabel did, right? Other than Drake May on last year's roster, name me somebody off the top of your head. You got to think about it, right? They won as a team. They believed in each other. They functioned on a thread, and they really just that can happen. These guys have that belief, and they come out and don't make dumb penalties. Right? They make plays in the kicking game. They do things early on where they're like, hey, we gutted that one out, but we got the win. Okay, now we know we can do better. These are the things that happen every year where a team you don't think of makes a move. And you've got Bijan Robinson, you've got Drake London, you've got Kyle Pitts, you've got Jake Matthews, you've got some guy, you've got Jesse Bates, you have AJ Terrell. You've got playmakers on your team. A lot of teams don't even have playmakers. But they come together with that belief. And if they win early on, the quarterbacks don't turn the ball over, you don't put the ball on the ground, you absolutely have an opportunity to win ball games. I would never discount Atlanta with the players that they have and some of the structure that they're putting in place not to go out there and win ball games. I couldn't discount it.
Nice. Something else that I need from you, and I know you won't, is I need you to stop hyping up the team that's black and gold over there in Louisiana. I need you to stop doing that. I've seen some segments, Mr.
Oh, yeah.
Wyche.
Oh, no, I'm not going to stop talking about them. Beat them. Beat them.
We did. We swept them last year.
Okay. And so that's what but last year was last year.
That's true.
That's true.
Like, they've got the potential to be a really good football team. And one of the reasons why is one of their better newer additions is one of the best players on the Falcons defense from last year, Caden Ellis. Right? Some of the things that they're going to be able to do with Caden Ellis is, he can rush off the edge. He can rush through the B gap, the C gap, the A gap. He's a very interesting chess piece. And Brandon Staley is a great defensive coach. In year 2 in the system, we saw what he did with Chase Young in year 1. Now you've got some other pieces around him. They've got They drafted the tight end out of Georgia. They're going to be a tight end centric offense early on. Tyler Shuck stays upright, man. They're going to be good. This division is wide open, man. Like you look at it, you say, okay, the Buccaneers, because again, they've got the culture, they've got a good offensive line, they've got Baker, like they've got some pieces. But who is going to be mentally strong enough to gut through tight wins, to make a play when you have to make it? That's something the Falcons have not done. Who's going to make that play when you have to have it? Right? They've got guys who can do it, but who's going to do it? And that's why I'm saying, do you think Patrick Surtain up in Denver is like, I will? Nick Bonito, I will. Like the teams that know that they got it, got dudes who'd be like, give me the ball. I'll shoot the jumper with 2.5 seconds left. I got it. Who on the Falcons is going to do that? Or what unit on the defense? Okay, so what, our offense fumbled the ball on our 40 with 15 seconds left. I'm on defense. I want the game in my hands. I want to win it. I want to keep them out of field goal range. Who's going to step up and do that? And that's the belief that they've got to go ahead and establish early on. So all of a sudden, guys we don't know about become guys that you really want to know about because you know their character. You want to feel them, right? And that's what winning teams have. I got you going. You want that ball in your hands right now, don't you?
Oh yeah, I do. I feel like the one guy that you made me think of on our defense is a guy that is starting to emerge is Brandon Dorlus. Like, make a play.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's 3rd and long, and we need to get to the quarterback. I'm gonna get the quarterback.
Yeah.
And so that got me amped. I'm not gonna lie, Steve. That got me amped.
There you go.
I mean, banking on guys like Zach Harrison also to stay healthy. He can get after it. But Mason Smith's change of scenery looks like it changed his attitude as well. Falcons do have pieces on this defense. Yeah. And here's another one. The Falcons have been blessed. I say blessed because we've come from an era where we've seen late round draft picks, contribute, guys like Grady Jarrett. And then you think more now into the more nearest of futures, guys like Deion Jones and Devondre Campbell, even Keanu Neal, for as much as that draft pick was ridiculed. We got guys like Kendall Daniels and Harold Perkins, who the fan base, I'm annoyed by them, and looking at footage and looking at their tape and what they've been able to do. These guys look like day one contributors. So this Falcons defense can stand the test to whatever this NFC South is going to look like offensively and what the Falcons can do defensively. I think we can put a stop to it.
And Ulbrich is a very good developer of talent.
100%.
You cannot say he developed players.
We saw that with Divine Diablo last
year.
Yeah.
So how good was he, man? I remember seeing him with the Raiders, and they didn't know what to do with him.
Oh,
and then
man.
When I spoke to Raheem last year, he's like, see, this guy, Divine Diablo, we're going to be talking about him all season long. I was like, wow, okay. Yeah, he turned out to be a player. Ulbrich is a developer of talent. So, again, I mean, as much as on paper and the preseason liar that it is, it makes you think that the Falcons are like, man, you just never know until you see the character of what's in your locker room. And I think the Patriots are a great example of that. Now, they had the quarterback. They had the dude. That's the one thing the Falcons don't know if they have. But they also showed a hell of a lot of character to get to the Super Bowl last year.
So you're saying it's a week-by-week league is what you're saying?
It's a week-by-week league, but I mean, again, there's some teams that say like, well, I hope we can go out and we can beat the Vikings. Like, no, there's teams like, no, we're going to go out there and we're going to win another one. Let's keep stacking them. That's not just saying it as a saying, but they know. Okay, look, we let's go. It's week by week, weather by weather. Road game, these international games. There's a lot of things these guys have to deal with now that 15 years ago maybe they didn't. But that test the stomach of a team. Like, oh gosh, I don't want to fly 9 hours to go play a game over in Paris. Why not, man? You get to play in a whole new event. It's football. You get 17 of them, right? Who values the treasure that is a 17 football game regular season? So, I mean, that's hugely, hugely important. But this is where a coaching staff, having the right people in place and personnel, like I think the Falcons do, these are things where you can find out a lot about the character of your team once you get past this third preseason game.
Very good. You heard it there first, man. So this is going to wrap This is going to wrap the show, man. Steve, we certainly thank you so very much for coming by, man, being so gracious with your time. We went over a little bit more than expected, man. We certainly thank you so very much for coming on here on Reporting Eligible, man. Any parting words, please? The platform is yours. Tell the folks something to look forward to in the days, couple weeks.
Next time I come back on here, I want you guys to break on the premium and non-premium positions and the salary scale that goes with those.
Bro Talk, that's for you, buddy.
I got homework. I got homework.
Man. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's awesome, man.
No, you guys are awesome, man. I love this.
You.
You guys made me smarter, man. You guys asked good questions and made me think and really kind of dig into my well. So I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you. And when Jack Strand does make it, just remember, Reporting Eligible told you
heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
Ooh, way to go on a limb, guys.
Yeah, we got it, man. We got to push that agenda. Steve, man, thank you again so very much, man. We appreciate your time so much. We look forward to having you back in the near future, man.
Let's go. All right, guys. Take care.
You too. Thank you again, Steve. All right, Bro Talk, man. Just wrapping up an awesome segment there with Mr. Steve Wyche, NFL Networks' very own Steve Wyche, man. Any parting words from you, man? We're going to go ahead and wrap this up, man. And also let the folks know where they can find you, man.
One thing that Steve said a lot that I want a lot of the fans that are like, this season is doomed, blah, blah, blah. You never know. I think I 100% agree with him. No one expected the Patriots to do what they did. No one expected them to win the AFC East. No one expected them to give the Buffalo Bills trouble. No one expected them in the Super Bowl, right? I'm not saying that's what we're striving for, but you never know. Like, we could win the division and we could also make the playoffs. So until it's time for week 1 and we see what this team's about, what do you say? You never know. But as always, guys, short form content, TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts at Dirty Bird Central. And then also long form content has come back. Been doing a weekly video, kind of picking a subject here and there from the preseason games at Dirty Bird Central as well. And then as always on Twitter at BK2.
Man, amazing show, man. Thank you so very much to Steve again for coming by. Bro Talk, thank you for bringing the fire questions as always, man. I'm your boy Berto, host of the 95 North Falcons talk show here on YouTube, but you can also find me here every Wednesday night alongside my guy Bro Talk for Reporting Eligible. And so do yourself a favor, man. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button so that way you know when 8 o'clock rolls around Wednesday evening, Reporting Eligible is on tab. So we'll come back at you next week. We'll be breaking down the final preseason game, and we'll probably talk about some cuts that are going to happen along the way as well. See who makes it, who does it, man. But until then, y'all be safe. Y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. For Berto, Bro Talk, and Mr. Steve Wyche himself, we'll see you guys soon, man. Peace.